the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, it's Midnight in the Marshaverse, starring Marsha Warfield and her two sons, Stephen Roberts and Skillz Hudson, as the problem child.
Good morning. Welcome to Midnight in the Marshaverse. We like to get together once a week and just relax. You know, we have lived such busy lives and hectic lives where we always have to be somewhere, do something, listen to somebody. And this time of night, we can just chill and have a nice conversation. So tonight, we're going to start like we always do here in this witching hour between yesterday and today. Yesterday and tomorrow, it's always today. Wherever you are, it's today. But we're between, you know, yesterday and tomorrow, and we're going to usher our way in to this day with our usual cannabis and cognac. We're going to have a cocktail and we're going to have a little cannabis and then see what happens. You know, sometimes strange things happen when you know, take a hit or two. So tonight, the cognac is going to be white henny. We have just a little bit left, and this is the cognac that got me married. Yes, this my boo baby said she wanted me to try this. She had just gotten back from the Bahamas and she had picked up a bottle and had an extra one. And she told me we were talking, we weren't dating yet. And on our first date, she brought me some white henny. I had never tried it. So this is what's left. That was 6 years ago. Cheers. Oh, what the hell? Kill it, Marsha. And we're going to have a little cognac. This is a heavy hitters throwback legacy type of strain. This is a Maui Wowie from way back in the day when that was exotic in the 70s when we used to keep our weed in little film cans and would roll out. We had seeds. It had seeds, but I don't remember Maui Wowie having a lot of seeds. Anyway, if you would like to take this time to make a sandwich or have a drink or uh, whatever it is that you like to do that makes you feel good, have a little something and join me. Here we go. Mm. All right. Now, Skillz and I will indulge my son, my problem child, when he comes out. And my older son, he's a teetotaler, so he'll probably have, you know, a little dessert or something or a Diet Coke. But that's fine. Whatever you like, please feel free. If you just want to drink some water, that's all right with us too. So many things are going on right now in this world that we can talk about. One of the things I wanted to talk about, besides the potato head in chief, we'll talk about him later. It's always something to talk about with him. But because of him and the way that he has encouraged real Americans to express their backlash against everybody else's progress toward equality. There's a situation that's in the news now. It's not necessarily mainstream news; it's internet news, but it's about a white woman who called a black child the N word because the child who some say has autism, but it doesn't matter if he has autism or not. The child was being a child with her child. They were playing. And she accused the black child of taking something from her son. It's unclear whether he took it. It's not like he took it and ran away or anything. It was probably the kids playing. They take the toy, you take it back. It's not a big deal. But she got upset and called the child a racial slur. So somebody nearby intervened. There was a brouhaha. They caught it on video, and she lost her job and blah blah blah. Like that's what happens now when you cuss out a child on video in the age of the internet. Well, she started a GoFundMe because she lost her job, and it wasn't really a GoFundMe. It's another right wing funding source. I don't can't think of the name of it right now. It's not that important. But where she had asked for maybe $100,000, she ended up with 600, $700,000, some ridiculous amount of money, with people donating and saying that she was the Rosa Parks of white people because white people are tired of being discriminated against. And she stood up. Now, what the discrimination is, I don't know. Is that they feel like they for so long have been denied the right to call black people niggers that it's time for them to stand up and reclaim their ignorance? I don't know, but these people are uniting behind this racist. Just it's almost it's too sad to be funny, but it's too ridiculous to be taken seriously. You, I don't care what the child did. You that's just not the way to handle the situation. How what's going on in your life when you feel justified, and how do so many people feel that? It's just hard to wrap your head around. Another thing that was hard for me to wrap my head around this week, the Met Gala is all about dandyism. And according to the Met Gala, it's almost like dandies were all black and they were forgotten or not really celebrated. And I didn't see much background material about how dandies had been part of minstrel shows and that the characterization of black dandies was different than it was for European dandies. European dandies were fashion rebels. You know, they were the ones that would add a dash of color, a little flair, a little style in their dress because for so many years, fashion was rigid. There were rules you had to follow. And even when I was a little girl, you had your school clothes, your play clothes, your bed clothes, your Sunday clothes, you know, your if you were going out, your formal clothes. You had clothes for every occasion, and if you didn't fit in, it was, you know, it was uncomfortable. It was a standard, and it's like people aren't aware of how rigid those rules were when they talk about respectability politics and how everybody's all dressed up at that time of day. At that time, you were expected to be dressed that way if you were out in the street. You were expected to have on June Cleaver dress and pumps and choker pearls to go shopping. So everybody dressed in that manner to protest isn't as far fetched or as deliberate a and own as you might think. So with these rigid fashion rules, you have a black community that has been the target of much of the white community for the entire time uh, black people have been in America. And so when they start to adapt these flamboyant clothes, it was considered gauche. It was considered just buffoonish. You don't know how to act. You black people weren't considered uh, human, so it was like, oh, you know, you dressed up some work animal, and of course their tux doesn't fit, and they've gone. It was they were mocked, and dandies were a big part of minstrelsy. Jim Dandy, Dandy Jim from Carolina, uh, the stock minstrel show characters like Zip Coon and Mammy and the Dandy. They were made fun of. because it was one a way to emasculate them and not have to see them as men, as equals. And two, um, minstrelsy was born in New York, and a man named Thomas Daddy Rice had gone down south and saw a performer do a ditty called Jump Jim Crow. And he was so taken with it, he stole it, took it back to New York, put some blackface makeup on, started singing the song, and supposedly that makes him the father of minstrelsy. And I think the earliest date that I can remember somebody saying he started this minstrel trend was 1828, somewhere around there. And I'm not really sure what year it was when New York abolished slavery, but it was around in that same time. So now you have all of these free black population in New York, and you have people who are not really happy with that. You also are beginning to see an influx of people coming north, and these people, were I'm sure predominantly poor, and just starting over. Well, start over they did, and they started building foundations, and one of them was fashion. They started adding to their style and adapting what was popular at the time, and you know doing their own thing. This was long before the Harlem Renaissance. And I know that I don't have all of I'm not a history major or anything like that, but I have the bones of it, and I welcome anybody to fill in the gaps to let us know exactly what the timeline was and how that context shapes what it is you see and what you're celebrating. And so and to tell you how rigid these kinds of customs can be and the attitudes that go along with them and undergird people's prejudices. If you think back, not however long ago it was when Barack Obama wore a tan suit, defied the fashion rules instilled in people's minds. It wasn't until the 70s, 60s, and 70s when a lot of those rigid dress codes were shattered because people were tired of the pumps and heels and stockings and bags to go to work in an office. And if you were a man, then you had to have a jacket and tie and white shirt and tie. And your shoes had to be changed. You had to look a certain way. And depending on where you worked, an academician had to wear a jacket and tie, but he wore a different kind of houndstooth, maybe, or uh, another, and a sweater, whereas somebody else might wear a tailored suit, white shirt, you know? And some people wore pulled theirs out the hamper, but it still had to be a suit and a tie. In 1964, when Sidney Poitier won the Academy Award for Lilies of the Field, he dressed appropriate for the occasion. He was very in, vogue with the rest of the audience. In 1971, I believe it was 72, when Isaac Hayes won the Academy Award, he said, fuck all that. And he had a boa or something. He broke all the way, had a light blue tuxedo or something. It was just, he went back to that tradition that a dandy was supposed to break the rules uh, and add style, regardless of what society says you're supposed to do. So the triumph of the dandies, male and female, is much bigger in my mind than was given credit for. That the societal pressure against these particular men and women was much greater than it was for other dandies, just like in other aspects of our society. So I wish I had seen more of that continuum, some more of the background that told us how we got to the Harlem Renaissance and the explosion of style that came out of it. In this society where we're now, everybody, you know, don't know what, and this is my comediosophy, a comedian's philosophy. So this is my comediosophy in this segment here. It's as true as I know it to be and factual as I know it to be. It might not turn out to be 100% accurate, but that's okay. These are things that need to be in the conversation. And we're also anxious nowadays. We're also concerned about what's going on. Some people are excited about it, but a lot of us are really troubled by what's going on. But it comes at you, and it comes at you not just from your environment, from your television, from your algorithm, from uh, everything, the things you have to do, and the things you would like to do. And we have so many of those things that we're tense and we can be short, and the internet makes it easy to fight and to stand up for your position because I'm at home and I can tell you you're a jerk. But after a while, that gets really, really tiring. And I think we forget to ask ourselves the real questions. The questions, who do you love nowadays? How do you show them? When's the last time somebody showed you how much they loved you? And what did you do with it? How did you receive it? Did you fully receive it? Or were you too consumed with the other things that overwhelm you and you couldn't really appreciate how special that is? And what kind of love are you looking for? What kind of love are you willing to give? What is love? I think we should think about that more often. I think we should talk about it more often because you can't beat evil people at being evil. You can't beat people, petty people, at being petty. And so don't try. I think we need to stay in touch with the part of us that we all, I think, long for. And in this country, have a unique opportunity to attain. We have a unique opportunity to attain a society of people with so much to contribute from so many different aspects. You bring your culture and add that to the information pool, and everybody brings their wonderful things, and we don't think so much of the negative and what they're trying to take. No, we're coming to this is a potluck. This is a just a smorgasbord, board. I don't know how to say that word, but it's a picnic. It's a cookout. It's an opportunity for us to take all of the best of all that we have and know, put it together, and make something wonderful. But we don't talk about that. And to talk about that nowadays is to be considered weak or unserious, or those are the strongest people out. The people who can imagine, the people who can see the good in each other and don't stay on constant alert for the negative. And if we can remember that the algorithm is manipulated, and so sometimes the things that are making you the most angry are designed to do that. So let's talk about, what does love look like to you? If you could tell me, uh, leave us a comment, or hit me up on my social media, and let us know. your thoughts on love. Right now, I can bring on my two people I love very much. And I think I'll start with my baby boy this time. He's my problem child, but he's so adorable. And before I let you meet him, I want you to let him introduce himself to you.
Skillz from the street here in Vegas. Walker's a little windy today, but the sun is out and shining. Then we come up on a relic here in Vegas. Yes, that is, for some people that might not know, that is a pay phone. It used to be a receiver on the end of this, but somehow the drug addicts out here stole the receiver and went and took it to the pawn shop. I don't know. And also, as you can see right there, somebody carved the thing out and tried to get the money out of there. I think, well, they got it out of there successfully. But yeah, that's it. That is the history of this relic of a payphone. 25 cents. Bye bye. Skillz from the street.
I don't know what that video is, so I'm going to just pretend like it was wonderful. Yeah, wasn't that wonderful? Uh, and he's here now. He's here, and he's got this little grin, that that kid that could like uh, paint your whole house and with bleach, and you come home and go, "What is this?" And then they look at you like that, and you still punish them, but not like you probably would if they didn't have that fucking smile. So say hello to my baby boy, my problem child, Skillz Hudson. Hi,
Hey
baby.
man,
How you doing?
hey, I'm good. I'm great. And also, it's funny that you were speaking about love. I'm off that Cheech and Chong sativa, and it's called Love Machine.
Okay. And it's funny you say Love Machine because Smokey Robinson, well, the Miracles after he left had a song called Love Machine. And he's also in the news, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh
So
yeah,
what you cool? You cool right now?
yeah, I'm good.
So right
Yeah,
now I'm
I'm real good.
introduce your brother,
Yeah,
my oldest son, one who looks just
he not
like
cool.
huh? He what?
He not cool.
He not cool.
Not like
he no, he's not like you, but he's got his own cool. In fact, let him show you his cool or not cool.
You just sneeze, but you don't need a tissue? What do you mean you don't need a tissue? Yes, you sneeze, so you need a tissue. You need to blow your nose and get all the debris off. What do you mean you don't need a tissue? It's in your hand. What are you doing with your hand? You wiped your hand on your jeans? That is disgusting. What is wrong with you? We all know that if you don't have a tissue, you go in the elbow and that's fine, but then you need to wash that elbow, okay? Put those clothes in the drawer. Oh my God, so gross.
I think that was cool. Anyway, he's like I said, my oldest son who looks just like me, and he's going to come out right now. And I want you to say hello to Stephen Roberts.
Who's not cool?
Who-
I don't understand. Who's not cool? I'm cool. I'm
okay,
very cool.
very cool. That's right.
Yes.
Now,
that.
what is cool? What makes a person cool?
The aura,
They're
the
aura.
attraction, when they walk into a room.
Okay, but everybody walks into the room. Oh, they got to have
No,
some kind of affliction.
It not just that. You remember what you were speaking on earlier, Mom, about like fashion. You know what I mean? Like, and you was talking about the Harlem Renaissance and like how like us as human beings, we like nosy. So like, you know what I'm saying? A person walk into a place, anybody, they looking at them, whether it's for the race they are, what they got on, how they look. I'm one of those ones.
Cool is competence.
That
Okay.
too, yeah.
I think cool for me is unbothered. I'm just not bothered by it.
But that's its own brand of competence. That's an incredible competence. If you're not bothered by anything.
Well, bothered by things, but I mean just the ultimate goal. My goal is not to, well, let's stay busy, let's run around, my goal is to just fucking chill. That's what I want to do in life.
That's your brand. You are so like that.
Yeah, man.
That's what I want to do. And so
did you hear what he called you?
Kid, I thought cool was smoking. And you had to learn how to smoke cool. And of course, I smoked cools and smoked cool. Also, how you wear your hat. But what makes somebody uncool?
Well,
people perception is not. I don't think it's the individual, because I believe people that's not cool to people that feel like you're not cool. The individual thinking they cool, but especially like what you said, Mom, about that confidence. Because the person that can be uncool, but they comfortable in their uncool.
Okay, well, that's a thought. Stephen?
What's the opposite of confident? Insecure?
Yes, but I'm thinking about the kid that, and when we think about cool, we think about popular. But some people, I think, can be cool being unpopular. You know what I mean? Or to be not to be the center of attention.
And that's punk. Because punk is, I don't care what you say, and I'm going to be the unpopular one, and I'm going to do stuff that's going to piss everybody off, but that's still competence.
But I'm thinking more like the shy people.
Okay.
Who aren't looking for, they don't want a lot of people around. They don't want to be popular.
Name a shy, cool person.
Me? Oh.
I don't know. I have to think about that. I don't know who's shy.
Well, celebrities don't tend to be shy, but one shy person I can think of is Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson was shy.
He was, and oftentimes a little awkward.
Yeah, but he was cool.
But he was cool. What made him cool? The fact that he was on TV, or the fact that he was deliberately awkward?
I don't know. But he had a confidence. I mean, if you got your own t-shirt, show you're competent.
And
Carson's thing was he started to bomb on purpose. That was part of the act, was that he was so good at recovering awkwardly when a joke didn't work, that became his shtick. So was it the shtick, or just him finding a way to use his attribute that made him cool and popular, in spite of the fact he was not trying to be that?
Whatever he did, it worked.
The Greeks said there were many kinds of love. What are there different kinds of love, or different ways to express it? I mean, you don't love your lover like you love your dog.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but you do love them both.
Yeah. Well, and you don't love your partner of 21 years the same way you loved your partner when you first met them.
Do you love them like you love yourself?
Great question.
Thank you so much.
Well, and you don't love your mother like you love your teacher, or you don't love your mother like you love your partner.
Or the lady on TV.
Yeah, or your heroes.
So if I asked you right now, who do you love that's not with you in the room right now or in the house?
It's a great question.
That's a good
You get
answer.
that
That's a good stock answer.
What is a good question?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm
Well,
not
I
going to
think,
answer it,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
will grade it. I will grade that question.
well, you go, Skills. Who do you love?
Christy Jones.
Okay, why?
I love how she makes me feel. I love how she I love how she is as a woman. I love how she acts around me. I love how she acts from a distance. I love her empathy for life. I love her laid backness. Uh, Not like almost like a coolness opposite of me, where I'm, more she was back in the, chilling where I'm like, yeah, let's do it. She's like, all right, okay. Cool. Uh,
I love your answer. You was just adorable right there.
Yeah.
You were just adorable. And I'm sure she loves you too. Somebody asked a question online about do black people blush, and somebody said no, we don't blush, and then of course we blush, and you just blush so cute. So that proves yes, black people blush. Stephen,
Yes. I
name a
love
thing you
I
love.
love my son.
Ah,
I love my son so very much, and I love him because I see me, and I see potential, and I see talent, and I see struggle, and I see, you know, all the things I have gone through in my own life. And he looks a lot like me. So it's interesting to watch someone who looks like me and acts somewhat like me go through things that I have gone through in the past. Also, I love him just because he loves me back and has from the very day I met him. And there's something amazing about that. And to watch somebody grow from being tiny to being a full adult, that's pretty amazing. And I can't help but root for him and want him
did
to.
you meet him when he first came into the world, or
I didn't.
had?
I met him right before his 5th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
And
was that moment? What was that moment? Not just physically, but that moment of recognition.
I saw me. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, I really did see myself. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how much he looked like me. And so and he had been asking about me for a long time. So when we both saw each other, and his eyes that looked so much like my eyes looked up at me, it was obvious that, you know, we were going to have a very tight relationship. It was just really obvious. Well, I said, and then we spent the entire afternoon getting to know each other and playing. It was great.
So these feelings, and I adore uh, my wife. She's her has a song called "Comfortable," and she says, "I feel so comfortable with you." And I told Angie that tonight. I feel so comfortable with her. I've always felt comfortable with her from the time we met, and all of the stuff I say about her heckling me and all that stuff. But the moment that it was, let me pay attention to this woman, time was when we were taking pictures outside the club, and she put her head on my shoulder, and I didn't, recoil or I just, wow, that feels kind of comfortable. But
Mm.
I don't know. Now I'm nervous because I don't know this woman, but that's kind of nice, and I feel that when I'm with her. But now we have these feelings when we take a moment to appreciate them. How do we make that or help that arm us as we go into the world? How do we take those feelings and use them to motivate our responses to the stimuli we're going to meet rather than defensively?
So something something that's very unique about a child and a parent is that, and I'm speaking generally, of course, there are exceptions, but I'm speaking generally.
Okay.
The reason why a child can act up or sass back or do the things that they do is because to their parents is because they know their parents are not going to abandon them, and that they can say these things and get away with it, or they can say these things and not be abandoned because that's their parent. And that is a trust. That is a trust that is formed through the bond of parent child. It's kind of a trust that we look for as adults. And I think, that kind of trust is what we look for as we grow up, and we try to find it in our partners and we try to find it in our friends.
But how do we find it in the guy who won't return your phone call when you're trying to book that club? How do you maintain those feelings of
Well, I think it comes through the word trust. I think you have to trust that you have to trust people. You just have to give them the gift of trust.
but is it trusting them or you?
Well, that's
I,
very
I,
philosophical of you, but I think it is trust in them.
But if you trust you and you know what you're going to do and what you will accept and what you won't accept, and if you're not going to let people uh, steal your joy,
Sure.
then that's on you. It doesn't matter what they do.
Well, that's right. And then that comes back to love. Do you love yourself enough to give
How
your
that's now, and we're just chit chatting like
yeah.
this we smoking
But you're
weed and
leading
talking
us a
shit.
little bit to the love yourself. I can tell.
No, really, I want to because I think truthfully, the whole concept behind the Marshaverse, the whole concept behind all of the things I've put together is that we don't celebrate ourselves. We don't recognize our power. We don't enjoy our lives. We don't love. Love is a dirty word. We don't talk about that unless you're singing songs or writing poems. We don't lead with that. We lead with, in fact, we don't really lead. We defend. We're always in, ready mode. So, how do we, and you can't, like I said, defeat somebody who is always confrontational.
yeah.
Uh, You just ain't gonna beat them.
You can,
So, how do you diffuse that? How do you go forward fearlessly in this world with the kind of blinders to say, I ain't gonna let you steal my joy. I'm not going to let you make me a victim. I'm not going to give you that power. How do you tell people or let people know that you have that power? You are strong enough. You are complete. You're complete. You're not perfect. You're complete. And with that complete power that you have, you can diffuse the negativity. So how do we spread that? How do we
I, I,
share?
I believe it's a consistent learning more with your experiencing just in life. Because as you saying that just now, it reminded me of a situation I had a couple of weeks ago that I seemingly always lead with love everywhere I go, and I'm out in the public a lot when I'm being down on driving anything. I'm always on public transportation and everything. And I had a situation where I went to an establishment and I'm leading with love, and negativity came at me, and me also being aware, me being a black man, I hold the stigma that even though I lead with love, when I'm challenged, also as that, then now do I feel like, okay, like what you was just saying, I'm learning still to love myself so much that you're not going to steal that joy from me that I just came up here with, and now I'm ready to be confrontational with you because now you don't depleted me of the love that I was coming to abundantly give everybody. Now your negativity don't work.
So what do you do?
You love yourself like a loving parent. You parent yourself and you give the words to yourself that a loving parent would give. And you encourage yourself and you speak to yourself as if you were the favorite child of the parent that you are to yourself. It's self-parenting.
But how do you and this is for you guys. Let's include the issue of masculinity. When you're in a confrontation or somebody's being confrontational and you are not. As a man, how do you lead with love and strength without confrontation or not allowing yourself to be manipulated into it?
Go ahead, Skillz.
That's why I'm still learning and I think it's because like when I was younger, when I was like 10 to like 14, people would try to bully me, but I was always like ready for the confrontation, even if it didn't, you know what I'm saying? But I thought like, okay, before you even try to bully me, I'm about to try to, you know what I'm saying? So as I got older and and getting into comedy and always being a joyful person anyway, it seemed like when the situations become confrontational, I'm quicker to go from 0 to 60, and I'm not trying to go there when I'm like, now everybody's looking at me like, oh, where's this come from? It was here, motherfucker.
Yeah, but now that don't work on stage, or does it? I mean, is that where you go on stage? You know, that sucked. That stupid joke, man. What the fuck? Now what are you gonna do? You gonna love them? You gonna jump out and whoop their ass, or
No. But I think it's proximity too, man. Because you think you like that word I just threw out there,
yeah, that
proximity.
was cool.
But
But
look,
you have another option. You have another option. You're not just limited
man,
to fighting or being emasculated. There's those are two extremes. You have other options.
Yeah,
Somebody
I mean, you
funny.
can use your sense of humor. I mean, we do have a sense of humor. That's the best time to diffuse a situation, to de-escalate something is to use your.
So that doesn't always work. Everybody's got something, somebody might break out singing, somebody might just leave, just
but
it
can I
works.
say this, man? When it's a situation where you feel as I'm speaking as a black man and also I'm a comedian that yeah I can diffuse it with jokes, but I'm bringing a lot of emotional, if this makes sense, past and everything that sometimes bubbles up right in that moment. You know what I'm saying? When you having a situation, you know,
Yeah, we got a
and,
lot of
and
baggage. We got a lot of baggage to carry. Yes, we carry
so
a
you
business everywhere we go. You take your luggage to the airport, you carrying a lot of baggage through life every day.
So today, I was on the road. I think driving is always a great example for how do you handle confrontation. So today I was perceived by this taxi driver as cutting him off, although he was going 15 miles per hour and he wasn't ready to move. So I moved around him, but that he did not like that. And then I proceeded up and got in line to make a right turn, and he was in the lane to go forward, but he stopped and decided he was going to give me a piece of his mind, rolled down his window, started yelling at me. And it's interesting that you bring this whole subject up because where I'm at these days is to not be, I'm going to act, not react. So there's no more of this knee-jerk reaction. So he's yelling at me and I just stayed forward. I didn't flip him off on the side. I didn't, go like that while I was looking straight. I didn't go like that, like, oh, you keep talking. No, I just kept looking straight and he was cursing and shouting and covering. And I just allowed it not to affect me. And
Somebody told me a long time. I think it was my mother. I don't know. Your mom might have told you you get upset, and she go, "You mad?" Yes, and she said, "Okay, go ahead and be mad." And that would piss me off because
yes,
it put everything on me.
yes,
This is my reaction. This is go ahead, be mad.
Don't be
yes,
mad, then.
And you learn that your reaction is a choice. you
right.
know, and it doesn't have to be, but
And
it's
boy,
a
does that
hard
make you,
thing to learn.
yeah, but it makes you so powerful when you do learn it, because then you realize I have a choice in everything. And I think that really leans or leads to being conscious. Because if in a very tense confrontational moment, you can keep your blood pressure down and be cognizant and conscious without going into rage or defensiveness or fight or flight, right? If you can just stay conscious, boy, you are so powerful.
And I think that's where we are on a grand scale, globally, nationally, that the people who are resistant need to not take the bait, need
Right.
to just understand you have the power and do what needs to be done. You once you get caught up in the drama, you're no longer addressing the problem. You've taken yourself out of the solving, uh, collaboration kind of mindset, and you're into a destructive mode. And any type of destructive mode is self-destruction as well. So if we can understand that we lead with love and not in a sappy religious or whatever kind of way as we're taught to that phrase means, but just understand, love yourself enough to know that tantrums can be funny. You
Mhm.
know, people throwing a tantrum. That's just okay. You through? We're going over here and solve this problem. And that's why I think we need the matriarchal mindset, you know, so that everything is not a competition or conflict. It's about family. We're all going to be affected by this. And if we do what I was saying earlier and bring all our gifts to the table, we have so much to give. I know do how to do it this way, but something that you might have known your whole life, say, well, why don't we just, you know, cut this thing and put it in there, and then we would have never thought
But what
about
if
that because it doesn't come from our background. And America being a nation of immigrants and people from all over and all different kinds of people have so much human resource if we could just see each other that way and not as separate entities that need to stay away and hoard our stuff and fight over
if we
everything.
don't all looked at as DEI hire?
Yeah, but you can't control how I can't control how you see me. I can only control who I am. So you might see me as a DEI hire. That baby, that's your problem. I got things to do, and that's the kind
But
of hmm?
what if the individuals that hold that, like for example, um, Trump being a representative of our whole country, right?
Correct.
And we as individuals that don't support him, but we still like, okay, we love our country, so we still gonna lead with love. We still gonna watch him represent us on the grand stage. But then, as like for example, as a black man, if I'm watching him and they ask him a question about the Harvard school, and he be like, "Yeah, they riding out there. They riding at Harvard." And and I'm like, as a young black man, why can't my attributes and everything feel like I'm inclusive in this make America great again philosophy that you putting out here, everything, instead of it's a battle against. So I can still lead with this love, but I'm okay. But it's an uphill battle with my love against another individual that don't have to show as much love. You know what I'm saying? It's still gonna get love.
Donald Trump does not consider you part of his base. He doesn't consider you as an American. He only
Yeah.
speaks to the people who voted for him, and he is trying to govern for their behalf. No one else. He never speaks of my fellow Americans like every other president. He never speaks of America as a unit that works, that's cooperative. He is always talking about how this part of the people are your enemies. He's made enemies out of people, and it doesn't matter because he's only talking about being the president of MAGA. As long as you leave them over there, they're going to fuss and whatever, like toddlers throwing a tantrum, and they're going to do what they're going to do, just like they would have done it if you got upset. If you get upset, they're still going to do it. And they're looking for ways for you to be upset because then that will allow them to do even more stuff that they want to do. So, oh, okay. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We have the talent. We have the resources. We have everything we need to solve the problem if we identify the problem and apply all of our gifts to it and stop letting the people with the top having the tantrum feel like make you feel like you're supposed to get out on the floor with them and start kicking and screaming and kicking your feet. That's just silly. They
Well,
will soon they will soon segregate themselves out. He's his poll numbers and everything show that he's starting to segregate the maggot people out of the equation. He's headed for self destruction. He can't avoid it unless, and he's not going to do it, so he can't afford it. So we got to figure out what we're going to do when they finally implode. So anyway, now that we've gotten high and solved the problems of the world as a true child of the 70s is programmed to do, I want to let you know I am going to be at the Ice House in Pasadena on Mother's Day for a special Mother's Day brunch in the Marshaverse. So if you have a mother, if you are a mother, if you know a mother, if you got an auntie who treated you like a mother or a bonus mother, if you've got somebody in your life who is special and deserves, maybe a treat this year that's a little out of the ordinary. You've given her candy, you've given her flowers. This year, give her Marsha. So that's May 11th, Mother's Day at 3 o'clock at the Ice House in Pasadena. My sons, where will you be?
Now I was about to say, first of all, can motherfuckers come to your show?
If it wasn't for motherfuckers, it wouldn't be no children.
Uh,
So you motherfuckers, we need at least a couple of y'all. So what are you
yeah,
doing
I
this
will.
weekend?
I'll be with you. I'll be with
Okay.
you on Mother's Day.
Yes, you will be helping us run the show.
Where are
And
you going to be, Skillz?
this weekend I will be postponing my show Skillz Friday show. I'll be on the road with Lunel in Richmond, Virginia for Funny Bone, and then Mother's Day I'll be back here in Vegas at Jimmy Kimmel with Lunel. Jimmy Kimmel.
well, all
And
right.
Mother's Day I will be saying Happy Motherfucker.
Well, like I said, if it wasn't for you motherfuckers, we'd have to, save baby batter. Anyway,
Hey,
that's all.
baby back.
Yeah, baby batter, turkey baster, lesbian family. Anyway,
I'm squirt this sperm in my stuff.
yeah, well, it's all I can think of. That's a little thin, ain't it? Anyway, this has been an interesting hour. I enjoyed speaking to you. This family time in the Marshaverse, where we just kick some conversation around. And if you have any thoughts, any ideas, any uh, if you get critiques, you can make them. Everybody has a point of view, and there might be things that could help us. But let's try to appreciate, like I said, all we have. If you, even if you can't think of anything right now, take some time. Think about the good stuff. Just focus on that and see what you come up with. You might surprise yourself. And if you do, let us know. Send us a little note or a video or somehow let us know what you're thinking. If you got a question, let us know that. Suggestion. We appreciate you. And if you just want to say, hey, like what you do, then we appreciate that too. My sons, thank you so much. And we have a special treat. We have a couple of new contributors, and one of them is going to be our last word. And so I want you to stick around for the last word from the old man on the porch.
Get a little Bible study in. I'm reading from 1 Samuel 8, starting at verse 10. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who asked him for a king. And he said, this will be the behavior of the king who will reign over you. He will eliminate all government programs put in place to help people. He will appoint the most incompetent lackeys to head departments they know nothing about. He will close off all means of information except for Truth Social, X, and Fox News, so his lies are the only information people can receive. The people will have no legal recourse. Only his law will stand. Voting shall be abolished. Elections shall be no more. And when you ask yourself, how can this be? Remember.
You asked for it.
Got away, no one can do it like that. Her own style, no one can wear that hat. Hey, don't you know that the queen is back? She's back, she's back. She withstands the test of time. When it comes to strength, she comes to mind. Knock her down, she gets back up.